You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
It's a faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Who are you?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that again. Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now please, get off this planet while you still have a choice.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Earth Station Who, and we are back, and we are here to talk all about Praxeus. And the Doctor and fam, or companions, whatever you want to call them, are basically in current Earth once again, but this time on a pretty awesome adventure that separates them all across the face of the Earth and trying to find a missing astronaut, a reason why the birds are going crazy, and some missing hikers. So it should be very interesting to talk about. And we got a great crew to talk all about it. Of course, Mary Ogle's here.
Hi, everybody. It is great to be here.
Great to have you here, too. It's awesome to be able to talk to somebody behind the scenes. Zoom has been giving us a crap load of trouble this week.
Yes, come on, Zoom.
Exactly. And, of course, Mr. Mike Gordon is here, too.
Howdy.
How are you this week, sir?
Peachy keen. So now that we're at the halfway point, we're past the halfway point. Does that mean the show is all downhill from here?
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, don't jinx us.
Don't jinx it. Don't do a Chibnall on us. Come on.
Yeah, especially since the final two-parter is all Chibnall.
All Chibnall.
Yes.
This was only part Chibnall tonight.
Exactly.
Right.
But it's also part Kablam, so there you go. So it'll be interesting to talk all about this one. And we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. Definitely would love to hear what you guys thought of this one. We got a lot of different things going on with, Doctor Who this week. There isn't really any new Doctor Who news. So, let's jump in with both feet and let's talk all about Praxeus.
Hey, don't touch it. Something's wrong with the birds.
Did the ESA send you?
ESA?
To find their missing astronaut?
Your missing person's an astronaut. There's a connection between all these things. I just can't see it yet.
Between what things?
A missing submarine, a dead naval officer off the coast of Madagascar, birds going haywire in Peru, an active alien tech in Hong Kong.
This is not an ordinary day.
No, very not ordinary.
Where the hell are we?
Follow me.
What's to do?
Count those in.
Ooh.
It's smart, it's relentless, and it knows you're onto it.
This one, actually, I'll start off. They were political, but it was not hammering it over the head like they did with that wonderful Doctor on Vacation story a couple weeks ago.
Our favorite.
I'm not naming the name of the episode because that's how... I think it's banned from this show from now on. We will not name that one anymore.
The episode that shall not be named.
Exactly. So I think it's cool that, Doctor Who is being socially aware. And, Doctor Who has always been very open, especially since the series has come back, with same-sex relationships and stuff like that. But I really think over the last probably 2-3 years, it's gotten very social also with, it's always talked about politics and it's behind the scenes and stuff, but they're getting more and more into environmental issues and such like that. And they touched on that a lot tonight in this episode.
Yeah, they did it in a great way too, in a way that was provocative and still entertaining to watch, but but also really got the message across and didn't hit you over the head with it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I thought it was really neat how they tied it in, with an alien virus and then, attaching to the birds and it was just really interesting. And as they said in The Graduate, plastics are our future. So it was kind of interesting to see.
I do think that, I don't know. I mean, there was no subtlety with the social message here. Not at all. I mean, my head's not like in pain from being hit over the head, but I will say it wasn't really that subtle. And the plot kind of reminded me of, like Star Trek, which one is it, 4 with the whales, right? It's like, oh, there's this alien coming to so we need to take care of the environment more like that. And that's cool. I appreciate the message, but I thought it was kind of simplistic and I don't know, kind of crazy, but I overall liked it. And I will say, here's what I liked about it. I love just because there's not really much else we have to compare it to that's good. I love the use of the companions in this. Like the companions were actually useful and well choreographed as far as who was where.
No, I agree completely. I think this was the first time in the, basically the era of Doctor Who we're in right now with the 3 companions that they were used well.
Yeah, I felt that way too, that this may be the first episode where all 3 of them were used well.
Yeah, because you had things going on in, 3 or 4 different locations, so you got a chance for them to spread out. And first off, I noticed, when they split up initially, and it was Yaz and Graham together, I really liked that. I was like, I don't think we've seen Yaz and Graham team up before like this, and I really liked that dynamic.
Mm-hmm. No, agree with that. And it was nice to see Ryan on his own being somewhat mature and responsible. In the past, it's always been, I don't really know what to do. I might hurt myself or I might fall or, whatever. This time he's like, don't touch that bird, that type of thing. And he's taking charge. I thought it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to see that it felt like they'd actually learned something from all the traveling they've done with the Doctor. It had changed them. And that's the way it should be. And I was really happy to see that portrayed.
He actually seemed semi-competent.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the great thing about, hopefully this is a growth we're finally seeing in a proper way to write the companions, especially if, they were able to, succeed in their missions. And it was pretty awesome. Yaz actually stood out for me in this one. And, she went off and did the teleporter with the blogger and, I don't know where we're going. And, they just checked it out and, oh, we're still alive, that type of thing. And she thought she had discovered an alien planet. It was so sad for her. But it was pretty awesome to see. And, Graham was Graham, but he wasn't overbearing.
Yeah, he didn't take over or anything. He had his part in the story, and he did that, and he did it well. But he wasn't the central focus. He wasn't, the one in command instead of the Doctor. So that, I thought he was used well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But, I think they're starting to figure out. Well, at least in this episode, it seems like they've got an idea on what each one of their strengths are, and I think Graham, when used correctly, he's the heart of the show. While the Doctor's off doing what she's doing, Graham's there kind of taking care of I don't want to say collateral damage, but sort of like, the more emotional things that she doesn't just have time for. Right. So I think that works to an extent. And then, Yaz being the woman of action was just really refreshing. I think this is the most daring thing I've seen her do since she's been introduced.
And that actually makes sense because when she was first introduced to us, who was as this police intern who was, supposed to be very independent and out on, and wanting to break away from her family ties and wanting, to be this real go-getter. And then they just let that drop. And so finally we're seeing what I think she should have been all along. So yeah, that was lovely to see.
Her being, a police officer like that, she should almost be like a natural born leader for the two others who are civilians. Type thing.
And she should be the one that's like, a little bit more skeptical, maybe a tad more procedural, but she should be the detective of the bunch. She should be the one that like looks at things and is like, I don't know. And that's kind of the impression that I got from her here. I liked her, I think this is a great continuation of her role in the Tesla episode as well.
Agreed, because she shined a lot in that one too.
Yeah.
Last week's not so as much, but she wasn't weak or anything. She was just babysat by Jack.
Well, all three of them were all three of them were taken out like of the story last week, and it just that was not ideal. But and then the Ryan stuff I felt was a continuation from the sort of episode that you didn't want to mention, but Ryan on his own, with a I don't know, I don't want to say like whatever, not a love interest, but just sort of that dynamic,
No, agreed. So yeah, they definitely had their moment in this one. And I think that was what was
What did
awesome
you think
about
the pacing, how they were ping-ponging back and forth between scenes? Because they were going all over the place.
Yeah, they were. It was kind of frantic. The commercials broke it up, because you have to, I don't know how it is if you guys were watching it with commercials, but, even fast forwarding, it takes a little bit of a break. So you get a break between all those. So actually, I think I kind of appreciated that. I hate to say it.
No, this one actually jumped really quickly. From the very first scene, it jumped.
Yeah, it just jumps all over the place. Yeah. So
I couldn't quite figure out why they were in Hong Kong.
Right.
What was the point of that, really?
Yeah, well, I think the point was, it's like, hey, the pace of this is going to be so fast, you're not going to ask questions.
Yeah. Well, when I did, at the end of it, I'm like, okay, there's probably a lot of plot holes here, but I didn't care because it was a fun ride.
We do know from the last episode that there's 3 spots that are affected or that she's of noting, right? So she sends, Ryan to one, Yaz and Graham to the other, and she goes to the third one. So that's why, but so it's kind of explained, but
yeah, but I get that. I just didn't get why the aliens would want to experiment on him in Hong Kong.
No,
why not just take him down?
Because
take him to the lab or take him to the ship.
Because Doctor Who, Mary. We haven't used that explanation in a while.
You're right.
These villains have seen too many James Bond movies. That's why.
Don't start pulling at threads. The whole jumper will just come unraveled. Look, and that's the thing, as far as the aliens goes and the reveal, like that what's her name, Suki was working with them and all that, it's supposed to be a big surprise, whatever. To be honest, I didn't care. Like, it's revealed that she's like not who she says she is or whatever. I didn't really like get that involved. And
she's always a sucker for a scientist. I love that line.
Yeah.
The creatures didn't make sense to me. I haven't really sat and thought about them because I didn't feel like they thought about them too much. They were just a tool for the use of the plot and everything like that. The real message of this is all about microplastics and everything. So
of course it is.
I get that. And like the stuff with the birds didn't really make sense. Some of the effects were good and some of them weren't.
The effects of them flying like in swarms and stuff was horrible. That was just basically stock CGI that they were doing.
Yeah, that was. I was thinking this exact same thing when I saw that. I was like, wow, that's like one of the first things you learn when you're how to do the fake bird patterns.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And it was just like, oh, really? They had to go there? But yeah, that I think was the weakest part for me. I enjoyed the effects. I liked the costumes, when the kind of gas mask looking thing, I thought that was pretty darn awesome, with it. And I like, that they had, a spaceship. They had the Doctor, trying to be different places all at the same time. And literally almost as soon as, they call for the Doctor, she's there all the way on the other side of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. And she's there so like with such precision that it does that the whole thing about the end with, or can we use the TARDIS to rescue Jake? Like, just falls flat, because you're like, well, of course you can. Like, why is this suspenseful? Like, just go and save him. Like,
yes. I was actually wondering, is that like an in-joke? Because, like all the times the Doctor could have saved somebody and didn't. It's like this one time, right?
Yeah, Matthew Waterhouse is going, really? You could have saved me.
I know, I'm just like, Peter Davis is like, no, there's just no way we could have done that.
No, we couldn't save Adric. Sorry.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No. Adric has to die. Sorry.
we like Jake better.
I mean, actually, I like the relationship between Jake and Adam. I
thought it was awesome.
Plot point.
It seemed very real, actually.
Yeah, I liked that it wasn't a perfect relationship,
nope.
But it was a loving relationship.
Yeah,
and it was nice.
And we have, on the other hand, we have Gabriella, who seems cool, and I don't know, at the end of it, I got this vibe that we're gonna see her again. Did you guys get that too?
You could always come back and visit. Yeah, I think that's where Ryan's gonna end up. Maybe.
That would be weird. I didn't sense that. I almost thought the opposite. I'm like, maybe Gabriella is going to be a companion after
trade.
Ryan.
Yeah,
like trade. Yeah.
I would trade. Pretty much.
Just be the three dudes like traveling rather than like
the three amigos.
Yeah, I can't remember what was their show called? The two traveling women or something. I don't know what it was.
I don't remember.
They're yeah, but.
You haven't heard of us? Come on.
I
like us going, Earth Station Who? Come on, you haven't heard of us?
Yeah. YouTube stars are like podcasting stars. They're like, and so within certain circles, yeah, you're pretty famous. Although outside of that, no, nobody's heard of it.
No. Oh, a podcast. What is that? To this day, we still get that. But yeah, it was interesting. I like the characterizations. I love the effect when the Praxeus affected the humans and everything. I thought that was awesome. The crystallization, and then they turned to dust.
Yeah, I thought, I like a virus that turns people to dust. It's very efficient.
Exactly.
Really helps on cleanup.
Exactly. God, think of all the graveyards that would be over with,
Just get a mini vac. Ooh, we're done.
Right.
All right. Yeah, even the clothes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just everything just poof.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
No, the clothing should have stayed, and they never said why did that submarine end up, in the spaceship area.
Yeah, they actually didn't explain anything about the submarine, really.
Nope.
They just. No.
Well, yeah, like I said, they're not the point. I know that, the classic Doctor Who fans will actually, even new Who fans will get a little like, geek out a little bit at the mention of the Autons, right?
Oh, of course.
Because you can't talk about plastics without talking about mentioning them at least,
Yeah.
I kept waiting for her to make a reference.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's not their MO. It's like, come on.
Right.
And I loved it. Come on, brains, think. And Ryan looked at, and he was, brains?
Yeah. Like brains? Like, yeah, there's multiple, what is she? Yeah, that's, I don't know what that means. Throw away.
Of course.
I hope.
We only hope.
Everything you know is a lie.
So
you've actually got multiple brains.
You don't only have two hearts, you have two of more.
So I have to ask you though, because last week, everybody was really counting on this episode to sort of be a second part to that. I mean, we had such a huge bomb dropped on us last week that this is like really insignificant. The pace is so fast that nobody has really any time to reflect on what just happened in the last episode. So, there's nothing. This has nothing to do with anything. This might as well have taken place anytime, right?
They did not answer anything.
No,
nope.
They didn't even follow up on anything.
Nope. She didn't even look concerned about anything like that.
I mean, I think a couple people threw out, well, because Chibnall kind of co-wrote this, then it should have something, but no, nothing at all. Is that a disappointment for you? Because I went in expecting that this was not going to have anything to do with it. And I was kind of annoyed by that, but I expected it, so I wasn't really disappointed.
Yeah, well, I think it was the same way for me. I went in without an expectation. I would have been surprised, actually, if they followed up on the episode before.
Nah, I didn't think it would be touching on it. I would have liked a mention of it, but, because Doctor Who, basically. So, I think, we only have 4 more episodes left after this. And they have a lot of things to talk about unless they push it into the next season. So, there's a lot of ground to cover, but I don't think, every episode has to fully focus on it. I would have liked to seen something, but I didn't expect it at all.
I don't expect to see anything until the last 2 episodes that Chibnall, I would assume that's a 2-parter. But yeah, I would imagine that we're going to get 2 more episodes that are just going to have nothing to do with anything, at least as far as that goes. Well, they'll pretty much be standalone, and then we'll have
some sort of wrap up.
Mm-hmm, exactly. I know they're going to have
maybe not wrap up.
I know they're going to have a Mary Shelley episode coming up.
That could be cool.
I think that's number 8. Because next week's definitely is not Mary Shelley. So it should be interesting to see where it goes, though. And there was a lot of neat things in this episode. There was a lot of hectic pace. And that's what I like about Doctor Who. And Jodie handles it really well. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Matt Smith also.
Let me ask you about that. I think this is a good point to end the season, really, and in her run to draw this out. I'm kind of beginning to see online the sort of not a backlash against her, but even people who enjoyed her first season are now kind of saying, I see more and more as almost as if, okay, the writing is just as bad, but Jodie's not enough to save it. The doctors before her, the actors before her had such a huge presence and were so entertaining that you could sort of get through even badly written ones because they were just so engaging. I'm starting to see it looks like people are thinking that Jodie is not that.
Wow, I don't feel that way at all. Okay. I think she's definitely saved some of the bad episodes for me.
I definitely think, and I don't believe that. I just beginning to see that, and it surprised me because it came from a few people that I was surprised. Some of the comments came from some people that I was surprised that was the case.
Not at all. I think Jodie is not the problem at all with the show.
Yeah, I don't. Well, and that's not. Like I said, I don't think so either. But certainly, she hasn't had. She has had a rough time of it, I think, and more so than her companions really have as well. But the showrunners, the producers, the writers have not done her many favors throughout this season and a half that she's had.
No, I totally agree with that. There's been a lot of bad writing and bad production too. And that hasn't helped, you can only do so much. But I always feel like Jodie's just brings this great spirit. I mean, I think she has a lot of presence. I'm always riveted when she's on the screen.
I've not doubted that she's the Doctor once at all. And, some people, said, oh, she's not a doctor. And, and it's people are, I don't want to say over criticizing or such, but, I don't know what she can do more. I think Chibnall, maybe it is time for him to go, because he's given us one or two gems, but otherwise the rest has been stinky garbage.
I think that she certainly had her moments, but I will say the first season I was really critical because I thought that they were putting her in unfortunate situations because she didn't know anything. Like, it seemed like there were too many episodes where she was experiencing things for the first time, or she didn't know what was going on. And that whole aura of the Doctor being the smartest person in the room, I didn't feel that a lot of times the first season. And I thought that was a mistake. I don't feel that this year. I do think that that's one thing that they seem to have corrected. As much as there's a lot of new stuff being thrown at her, she seems more than capable. Her character seems more than capable of handling it. So I do appreciate that shift in tone that they've done.
Yeah, I agree with you. She was definitely more tentative the first year, and I think that was more the way she was written than Jodie.
Yeah,
Also,
no, I think so too.
They kept, Graham kept, taking the momentum away, frankly.
No, that's true.
But yeah, I haven't felt that way this year.
No, not at all.
In fact, as bad as the episode that shall not be named was, I still enjoyed watching Jodie in it.
Oh, of course.
Well, that scene at the end where she does the sort of monologue or whatever, the whole sums up the whole message thing, I thought was one of the best quotes of her run. Like, that
she was great.
And she handled it as much as cool as anybody. I mean, do you get a sense, and Mike, do you get a sense from that you, like, the first season is always kind of rough for the actor until they really get their groove. Do you feel like she's got her groove as the Doctor?
Oh, very much so. I think she is completely comfortable with the character, and I really felt it sink in with her last year at the New Year's special with the Dalek story.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, I had no doubt that she was the Doctor. And I think her mindset was she's the Doctor. Before that, I felt, there were periods and peaks and such that, she came out of it a little bit. But I think clearly this season, I feel like she has it under her belt and it's under control. I just wish the stories were better. I do. And, or, something, but now we're going on 3 solid episodes, and, I'm very happy to see where it's going. And, especially we were all saying we were worried that we were about to get another kablam. And
Alan would have been happy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how Alan felt about this one, so I don't know if he felt it lived up to Kerblam. Goodness knows. I just had a hard time saying that sentence. Yeah, and I think they've done some, and I think Jodie's done a lot to help with this. I hope, but the Doctors always have this sort of iconic stuff that kind of that makes them stand out, like whether it's David Tennant and the 3D glasses, or Matt and the and his bow tie and his fez, and then Peter with his Sonic sunglasses and his guitar. I think with Jodie, I think Mary, you mentioned it I think last time, but the goggles and the fact that she's willing to get her, like, she's more mechanical as a Doctor than I think any of the ones that we've seen, certainly in New Who. Yeah,
she's got that real steampunk vibe, which is funny because her her console looks less steampunk than some of the other ones. But she is, I kind of think of her as the mechanic, in a really good way.
Oh, very much so. And I thought it was pretty darn awesome. And this is a compliment about the interior of the TARDIS, folks. Hold on to your hats. Basically, when the Doctor was getting the message, the call from Yaz, the message was showing up instead of on a video screen in the Steam. I thought that was pretty awesome, actually.
I don't even think I caught that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty neat to see. That was like a projection up through the Steam coming out of the TARDIS console. So my one compliment about the interior of the TARDIS.
Yeah, that's another thing that hasn't helped her either. I don't care for the interior of her TARDIS, and you know what? I don't even really care for the look of her Sonic.
Oh, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I mean, I haven't seen one actually like hold it in my hand to see how it feels, but I don't know. It just when I first saw it, I was like, okay. Like it didn't really thrill me,
Just because it doesn't, extend out or the claw pop out like the other.
Well, the claw is kind of silly, but.
And she doesn't go around constantly saying it won't work on wood.
Mm-hmm. Well, you basically have to look at it and go, do I need a set of shelves I need to build, or do I go save the universe? Basically. So it's kind of cool. So did you think how they saved the planet at the end by, sending the alien spaceship up there and, to put it out into the atmosphere, into the jet streams, as she put it, to save everybody? Was that...
It was ridiculous. I mean, the plot was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
the plot was ridiculous.
It's just like, oh, we got whales, and it's like I said with Star Trek 4, like, it's just like, oh, you get the whales back, and then they chant, and then it's everything's saved, and yay.
Yeah,
but,
it was very hand wavy. But I didn't care.
Did I know they disintegrated, or that they got rid of the virus, but I mean the microplastics are still in all of us, right? Is that I'm not mistaken that she didn't like wipe out the microplastics that we've been saturated with, right?
No, she didn't fix that.
So, and that's like kind of one of those things too, where if you don't know it. And I don't even know I don't think I knew it to the extent, but the fact that, the stats that they that she brings up about microplastics and how they're in everybody and all that kind of stuff is one of those things that's like, if you don't know it, you're probably like, that can't be true.
Mm-hmm.
And then you Google and you're like, oh.
You're like, oh, damn.
Exactly. We're full of plastic.
And if they had come up with a villain that was really creepy and scary about it, we might be terrified of that. Like Blink or something, but I don't think, and that's the other thing, I don't think the Chibnall and Company have done a really great job at giving us great monsters.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, Suki the lab tech was not particularly horrifying.
Suki the lab tech.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's like Suki, not the most, scary person in the world, but it doesn't have to be scary all the time. And Chibnall doesn't do scary very well unless you have teeth in your face. But
that was just weird. I don't even think that was scary. It was just uncomfortable.
It was just, bizarre.
It's just like weird. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when they showed the trailer for this season, I think we all saw Cybermen, right? So we knew that the Cybermen were going to come into play at some point this season. Are they in the Mary Shelley episode? Because that would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that would make. Yeah, so probably it won't happen. No, just kidding.
No, of course not. It's not. It's Chibnall. The perfect way to do this. And
the only thing that would be more perfect is if it was Morbius.
True. Well, that was basically the retelling of the Frankenstein story anyway.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm. So, I definitely think, we had a possibility with Doctor Who, bringing some brilliance to it. And I think it missed the goal line by like that much, most of the season overall. There's been some good ones, like we keep on saying, but we just keep on going in circles and going, what about this? What about this? Could it be this? I'm enjoying the ride. I'm having a good time watching Doctor Who. I'm enjoying this season much more than I enjoyed last season. And for me,
I am now after the last 3 episodes.
Yeah. See,
the first 3 I was pretty iffy on.
I didn't mind the first 2. I think I was pretty much the one who didn't mind it as much as you two. But there was only one episode for me so far this season that, made me want to welch and, throw up and, toss my cookies.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I feel bad that we had to have Kirby on for that one. Hopefully he'll
take one for the team.
Oh, did he ever? Did he ever? So, any final thoughts before we finish up with this one? Okay. Let's go ahead. Rate 1 out of 5 TARDISes. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Mikey, you got to go first.
I'll give this a solid 3. It doesn't really, it's not, if you compare it to like, all of Doctor Who, it's not even, it's just a standard episode, really. It's not bad. It's not great. But there's some good moments in here. And like I said, I have to give them credit for the use of the companions. I think, I'd have to, go back and really look at the first season or whatever, but certainly this season, I think it's the best use of the 3 companions that we've had to date.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay, Mary.
I'm going to give it a 4. I really enjoyed it. And I liked the Adam and Jake relationship at the center of it. I thought that was a really nice touch. I liked that they actually saved Jake for a change instead of just sitting there and watching him get blown up like often happens.
Say hi to Adric for us.
You're right, bye. And I'm kind of surprised, actually, seeing what Chibnall did with Broadchurch, and even in some ways with Torchwood, that he hasn't developed seasons that have more of an overall arc in them. That he just he brings something up and then it goes away, for 5 episodes and then it comes back. It's very choppy, and that I find that frustrating. But for this individual episode, I did enjoy it quite a bit, so I think I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay. Mary stole my thunder right there. Awesome. So this is good. This is good. Because that way I could just say, I'm giving it a 4. What Mary said. So I enjoyed this one. I like the characters. The characters really made it for me. And, I thought the whole thing, with the water filtration systems and, the doctor slowly figuring out what was going on. Because, truthfully, for the first quarter to a half of the show, I didn't even realize or really know, where is this story going? What is the plot of this? You didn't really know, because it was just frantic scene after scene after scene. We're going to go rescue the astronaut. We're going to save the hikers. We got to see what's going on the beach in Madagascar. Boom, 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 boom. And you didn't really know. And it just, and then it all tied to everything together in a big bow. And that was pretty awesome. So I did enjoy it, and I definitely think this was, a continuation for me of, the threesome. It's in a row. Can we go for 4 in a row that I actually like? Let's only hope. But we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Let's thank my co-hosts, of course. Mary, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad we're getting some, at least in my view, some good episodes finally. Let's keep it up.
Agreed. And before I forget, of course, let's thank Mr. Mike Gordon.
As always, it's my pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Of course, it's great always doing a podcast here with Mike and Mary, and we always want to hear from you guys at home. So please, if you get a chance, write us at earthstationwho@theesonetwork.com. And if you get a chance, of course, touch base with us on our Facebook group, or we have a Twitter. We're trying to be all over social media, but, like we always like to say, we can't do this without you guys. And before we also get out of here, big shout out to our patrons for the ESO Network. They make the wheels go around, and as a reward, you guys get this 48 hours before everyone else does. So with that being said, we will be back again next week when we are going to be looking at the episode, Can You Hear Me? And with that being said, my name is Mike Faber. On behalf of myself, Mary, and Mr. Mike, we thank you for listening, and we will see you here next time on the Earth Station Who podcast. Peace! And we are done. Boom!
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
Do you enjoy pop culture? Of course you do. You're already listening to pop culture podcasts here on the ESO Network. The Rusted Robot podcast discusses movies, trailers, TV shows, space and robot news, and so much more. Won't you please join us for a pop culture overload wherever you listen to podcasts? TheRustedRobot.podbean.com, a proud partner of the Soulforge podcast here on the ESO Network.
The Rusted Robot podcast. Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.